Hello, Waffles. How are you? I've got a cat. Her name is Waffles. She's right here. I'm not crazy. Oh, hi, I'm Rayford, and thank you for joining me for some Paragon. You know what, guys? Let's stop. Let's pause. Let's take a minute here. And you know what? Look at me. Let's talk for a sec. When I started playing Paragon, I was a little bit apprehensive about the game. Why, you may be asking? Well, and honestly, that's a pretty simple answer. At the time, I hadn't played any MOBAs, and I was under the impression that they featured, matches in excess of an hour, and, there was just full of, raging at your team, and at the enemy team, and, you're just, it didn't strike me as a good time, really. But I started playing, and I found that that's actually not the case. Yeah, there's times when you get tilted about matches, and whatever. That happens in all games. But not as much as I thought in Paragon. It's about on par with any other game that I play, any other first-person shooter, Destiny, Titanfall. I played Halo for a long time. Back in the day, I was a WoW guy. I've played a ton of games in my day, and this actually, I feel like I rage or I get upset less than I did in those other games. That's because in a 5v5 environment, there's a chance for me as a player to make more of an impact on the outcome, and as a result, I found that I didn't actually get as angry as I thought I would, but I did also find that, when talking to some of my friends about the game, that there was, they still had questions. There's some nuances to a MOBA, and that's actually a good thing. It gives it depth, and depth means that there's stuff to bite into, stuff to kind of chew through after you get through sort of the very easy parts of the game, the stuff that's really easy to grasp. And I thought I'd go ahead and do a video on my top 10 things, or my top 10 tips for Paragon. So, tip number 1, slow your roll. Each hero has several traits, and these traits kind of help define what role they fill in the match. Look, I'll have a link to these roles in the description of this video. But before you go into a match, have an idea of what role you want to play. The beauty of Paragon is that it has heroes that fit a multitude of play styles. Find the ones that you like, learn their ins and outs, and play them. Try them out. If you pick a hero that you don't like, that's okay. That's the beauty of the game. There's a lot of heroes that you can experiment with. Try that out. Do your thing. Have fun. Tip number 2. Hey baby, send me a deck pick. Spend time with default decks, then experiment with your own. In keeping with the above, once you find a hero that you enjoy and want to learn some of their nuances, learn how most people build a deck for that hero. Heroes also will function differently based on the deck that you build for them. A hero can function differently based on the cards that they get equipped throughout the match. It adds a lot of nuance and a lot of intrigue into how to play a hero, and it lets you as a player kind of express how you want to play in each match. I'll have a link to agora.gg in the description box down below. Once again you find a hero, check out agora.gg. There's a ton of builds for each hero on that site. It's free. You can just check it out, browse around, and if you end up finding a deck that you like, you can either recreate it in the game, or you can create an agora.gg account, link it with your Epic account, and then, assuming you have all the cards for that deck, you can actually import it into the game. It takes 2 minutes, really. It's super easy. Tip number 3. Do you even lift, bro? So here's the deal. On the map, there are 2 river buffs. Each of these buffs, they spawn at the 3-minute mark in the match, and then they respawn every 2 minutes after that. And they can actually spawn one of 4 random buffs. So you've got the blue buff, which gives you a speed boost. There's the purple buff, which enters you into the shadow plane, similar to what Kalari can do. There's also the red buff, which increases ability damage, and the black buff, which gives a damage over time effect whenever you hit a minion or a hero with some kind of damaging ability or attack. Each also give mana regen for 5 seconds, so it can be really huge when you get in that mana boost if you need it. Generally, early game, I like to say that these are for the jungler and mid lane, but honestly, they're helpful for pretty much everybody. If you see that your jungler or your mid laner aren't picking up the buffs and you need it because you're low on mana or you need the extra the boost basically, pick it up. Don't be afraid. Again, it respawns, at the 3-minute mark, like 3 minutes into the match, and then every 2 minutes after that. So 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7, 9, 11, and so on and so forth. Tip number 4, don't play with your food. Caveat: if you know where the enemies are and there's an enemy hero that's out of place, then this is generally acceptable, but it's okay to not secure a kill. If an enemy is pushing your lane and you run over and you weaken them a lot, it's okay if they retreat. Even if the enemy is forced to back, that's still time that they're not in lane and they're not ganking. Any time that's spent not in lane and not ganking is basically lost time. There's no bigger detriment for a hero than not getting a CXP, continually throughout the match. Forcing them to back, assuming you can't kill them, is fine. That's okay. Definitely do not let them lead you on this wild goose chase throughout the jungle, especially if there are enemies missing. Odds are you're being led straight into a trap and you're going to get killed. There's nothing that's worse than it's a 5v5. Everybody is all up, and then one hero on the enemy team retreats just to have one or two of the people on my team chase after him and get led into an attack, and now my team is down by 1 or 2 people. It sucks. Just use your head. Don't chase after him excessively, really. Tip number 5, are you lost? The minimap provides incredibly useful information. It tells you where your teammates are, minion waves are located, what river buffs are up, or how quickly they're going to respawn. But most importantly, it tells you where the enemy team is, or where they are not. It's something that I make a conscious effort to check, and if you watch my videos with Facecam, you'll actually notice just how quickly my eye darts up, sort of to the upper right-hand corner of my screen. That's where the minimap is located. It's good to have an idea of where enemies are. If not, you could be getting ready to be ganked, which actually ties in with my next point. Wards are friends, not food. Unless it's an enemy ward, in which case, nom away. So I harp on and on and on about this, but that's because of how important they are. Warding lanes, warding the jungle, high traffic areas, it's a key to staying safe, and in Paragon, safety is akin to staying alive. Now, there's 2 types of wards in the game. There are the scout wards, which cost 1 card point and are visible at all times, and then there's shadow wards that cost 3 points and when deployed into the shadow realm. This means that unless you're Kalari, or you have the purple buff, or some other means of entering the shadow plane, that you can't see those wards. Additionally, scout wards have 1 charge that refresh on a 90-second timer, while shadow wards have 2 charges that refresh on a 90-second timer. Wards are limited by line of sight, so again, place it in high traffic areas, not behind a rock. It's not going to see anything on the other side of the rock. Put it somewhere, where the enemy could probably be traversing very often. Definitely put it in the jungle, maybe along the river somewhere. It'll give you line of sight and keep you safe. Additionally, shadow wards are the best way to find that sneaky, stealthy Kalari that's lurking around, ganking your team and harassing you. Place those wards, keep yourself safe, make sure you win. Tip number 7, talk to your friends. And no, I don't mean that sarcastic good job when somebody dies or when your team loses a tower. If you're defending a lane and you need to go back to base, ping that so someone in your team knows to rotate over and defend your lane. If you need help, ping it. Use the need help communications. If you're worried enemies are about to rotate over and kill someone, let your team know that our enemies are missing. And you know what? If you make a noob play, if you die, if you lose a tower, own up to it. Use I'm sorry. It happens to the best of us, and sometimes to the worst of us. It just is what it is. There's loads of comms to use. Use them. Don't use them sarcastically. Don't spam them. And just make everybody's lives and gameplay a lot better. I also like to say that anytime somebody on my team, gets a kill or secures a tower drop, I always like to hit them with a good job. I feel like it's important to maintain good morale on a team. And I feel like it's just polite, Tip 8, KD nay. At the end of the day, Paragon is an objective-based game, and while it's great to have that stacked KD ratio where, you went like 22-0 with like 9 assists, what's even better is a win. If you're a jungler, keep an eye on the minimap, rotate over and help your team defend a tower if it's in trouble. If you're in mid lane and off lane is getting bullied and your lane is safe, rotate over and help them out. Ideally, you want a better, you want a good KD ratio, but really, just because every time you die means you've given the enemy a boost while also denying yourself much needed CXP. Getting a kill is great, but losing in a tower or an inhibitor just so you can get that kill, not so much. Conversely, I've seen games where my team was on the losing side of a major KD deficit, with us having way more deaths than kills. The enemy team was just steamrolling us constantly, but we also ended up winning the game by a large margin because we were playing the objective. And in the end, the objective is what matters. Tip 9. Push it, baby. Push it real good. Now say you and your team have pushed the enemy team hard. You've been putting a lot of pressure on them. You're dropping towers. Your team is just clicking together and you guys can't make a wrong move. Suddenly a team fight breaks out and your team comes out ahead. Say you've got one person on your team dead, but like 3 people on theirs dead. One of them is playing super defensively and the other one is backing. Push your advantage. Again, this is an objective-based game. That means that if you can push a lane and take a tower or an inhibitor, do it. There will be time to back later while your enemies are starting to respawn or scrambling to recover and get control of the situation they now found themselves in. Push your advantage while you can. It's going to make all the difference. Tip 10. Good luck. Have fun. This one's simple. Yeah, Paragon is a game, and that's important to remember. It's easy to get full tilt because your Chimera would rather farm the jungle rather than just meet you and peel that Gideon off you that's almost got you, and then he's dropped a rock on your head and you're dead. Or when you're off lane, loses the T2 tower in like the 12-minute mark. Just, it can be easy to get frustrated. And you know what? Some matches are going to go your way. Some matches won't. That's okay. For the ones that don't, just remember that there's always another match after this one. And that's going to be your match. That's the one where you and your team are just going to, you're going to be a well-oiled machine. You're going to kick all of the butts, farm all of the minions, and you are going to go 12-0. But in this match, just do what you can. Do your best. Have fun. Relax. Enjoy the game for what it is. And remember, there's a new hero every 3 weeks. There's something new, something different, and there's always these different heroes that you can play. A different way you can build your hero. Anyway, guys, that is my top 10 tips for Paragon. These are just beginner tips. I might make a deck kind of building guide at a later time, but that's a much more in-depth topic. I just want to cover some of the basics here, some of the things that I try to remember in my gameplay. And this is stuff that's served me well. Hopefully it helps you guys out as well. If it did, hit that like button down below. Leave a comment, say hey, say what's up. Let me know what your tips are. What are your recommendations for people that are just getting into the game? Or what are your more advanced tips? I want to know. I want to hear about it. I feel like with a game like this, it's always important to just try and always learn as much as you can. Try and be the best player that you can. Sometimes it'll work for you, sometimes it won't, but I think it's important that you try. Anyway, guys, hope that you enjoyed. I will talk to you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.